Am I? Welcome to Kuroko no Basket Pod. Oh crap, no, we're actually WeTaku Anime Review. Welcome to WeTaku Anime Review, which is today the best pod, the most beautiful pod. My heart pod, Kuroko no Basket Pod. I'm your host, Jovan, and I have my weeb degree in, it's invisible, but I promise it's there, in Kuroko no Basket. Mostly shonen stuff, but that's exactly where we're at right now. If you can't tell, I'm just like a little bit excited to talk about today. And with me are my three lovely co-hosts. Introduce yourselves, please.
Hi, I'm Thomas. I do not have a weeb degree, unfortunately. I lost it since I've gone to college, unfortunately.
Yeah, pretty much same here. But I'm Steven, and I'm working on a new degree since I lost mine. You see, now I'm a comp sci major. Yeah.
I'm Allan. I'm a dinotologist.
That's
I'm sorry, what?
What's the name of the first bird?
Yes.
Wait, I know this one. Yeah, it is Archaeopteryx, which I think is also a Pokemon, just called Archaeopteryx.
I think Alan's not a real dinotologist.
Fuck you, I'm a real dinotologist. We went over this
Alright.
while we were going home.
So today on WeTaku, we're going to be discussing dinosaurs. How did they work? Like I said before...
Which
No,
dinosaur's
sorry.
best at basketball, Alan?
The-
Oh,
Good question. It's actually the tiger. So, like I said before, I'll say it again. This week we're reviewing Kuroko no Basket. Woo! Season 1. It should be noted that we're only watching Season 1 for today's review. We'll get to the other ones another time. Headphone users, I'm so sorry for Thomas.
It's not that bad.
Alright, lovely. We're only doing Season 1. So that said, our scores will reflect that. Our discussion will reflect that, and can I ask for no Season 2 or 3 spoilers in the chat, even when we get to spoiler section? That cool? Cool. So, kicking it us off, just gonna go straight into scores with story, because I guess I should give you guys a description. I forgot, not everybody knows what Kuroko is. I love it, though. Shonen. It's technically a sports anime. It follows a kid who can basically turn invisible, and his teammate who can jump high, as they try to take on the Invisible Kid's 5 evil ex-basketball teammates and their magical powers. Shonen, tell me if I'm wrong. It's technically a sports anime. It follows...
Alright, so I read this book one time, and there was magic in it, right? But they couldn't turn invisible. They were unnoticeable. So it's kind of like that. Just Kuroko doesn't
Fine, he
literally
turns
turn invisible.
unnoticeable.
Yeah.
Some of the powers in that show are actually just magical superpowers.
Yeah,
So I'm
alright.
just gonna put it out there.
Yes.
Basically, it's basketball superpowers. It's superpower basketball. It's just... That's it. That's all we got.
It's
Superpower
shonen basketball.
It's shonen
Shonen
basketball.
basketball.
For any of you out there right now who are like, oh, I don't care about sports, though. I don't want to watch a sports anime. I want to go back to watching my shonen. You're not watching sports. It's just shonen. It's just
With
a
a ball.
shonen battle. And I
Yeah,
love it.
don't worry. They take out the times to explain to you like what's happening as it's happening in like super slow motion, like, thinking that fast. You know, it's like the trope in like every shonen, especially Naruto and Bleach and shit. Like all of that present in Kuroko.
There's
if
a
you
moment-
like that, it's there.
There's a moment in which a character has 1 second left on the shot clock and gives an entire 1.5 minute speech about how he's really good under pressure and then takes the shot. I love it. Alright, so we're going to kick straight off with story now. Alright, so that said, with all of the praise I've just thrown, story's a 7.5, which is above average, if average is 5. 7.5 means it's pretty good, but I'll be honest, story's a little bit bare. Actually, I think I give it a 6.5. I lied, 6.5.
Yeah, you did 6.5.
I also
6.5.
lied. No one pay attention to the score right now.
Oh
It's
my
okay.
god.
My score is
I
something
am
or another. Who
Really
knows?
sorry. I really have to go right now. I'll be back. Sorry.
Alright, well, he's dead.
Okay, well we'll just carry on.
We'll just carry on. He's not important. Nobody matters. Alright, I give it a 6.5 out of 10 due to... Although I've sung its praises, I'm so excited. I love Kuroko. Season 1 is kind of just setup. There isn't much to it. It doesn't actually focus so much on like a goal as much as it kind of focuses on setting up the characters, their circumstances, their school. It sets up who they are, why they It doesn't actually even set up why they play. Really, all it does is set up the idea of these are kids with basketball superpowers and they're playing basketball. There isn't much of an inherent goal or anything else to do. So all I have to say is it sets up the frame, but it doesn't do much with the frame. So it's a 6.5. Still above average though.
I gave the story a 6. It is my turn, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I gave story a 6.5 as well. It didn't. Okay, so one of the main points is that it's not all about this one team. I liked that. That added to it, because in the end, like, it's just about
Two entirely other teams.
Yeah, 2 entirely other teams. Don't want to get into that right now. 6.5. It was enjoyable, but it didn't draw me in. It's still basketball. I'm not a sports guy.
Someone's
Sorry.
alarm just went off.
Oh, come on, Thomas.
Sorry.
Get it together today.
All
It's your
right, so
turn,
friendly
Steven.
reminder, we are a little bit out of practice here after half a year of hiatus, so just please bear with us,
It's
everybody.
okay.
We're doing our best.
I'm gonna apologize right now. I accidentally opened the stream, but I'm not on the WeTaku channel, so there was like a bit of noise before I muted it.
Perfect. You know what?
It's fine.
We're top tier. Steven, what you got for story, man?
I gave it a 7 actually. I think it was done pretty well. Like, the points that Javon made are very accurate, but unlike Thomas, I really was drawn in by the first season. Like, especially the first time that I watched it. And I think it's very shonen in that you can pretty much split it up into arcs, being like the different games between different teams, basically. And so I think it's, if you like that sort of thing, I think they played it out pretty well in this sports genre, and it does set up pretty well. So and it was very enjoyable to watch, without a doubt. It was a lot of fun, and yeah, 7.
All right. I gave it a 6.5, like 2 of my other co-hosts.
Darn.
I think it did a lot to build intrigue, but it is not finished. It was a lot of build-up, and well, like, you get some satisfaction at the end, but like mostly you just want to watch more. I think it was very good at capturing attention.
I would like to make a point building off of that, in that for any of you longer time viewers out there, I wouldn't say that long really, but when you go back to our Higurashi episode and we talked about the differences between season 1 by itself and season 1 as a part of a whole, Higurashi season 1 could not stand by itself in the slightest, right? I think there's a difference here in that season 2, or Kuroko season 1, although it's also a part of a greater whole, I think the first season by itself is more enjoyable. That said, it's part of a package. It's part of a set. It's never meant to end with season 1. So you have to keep that in mind if you're going in to watch Kuroko. You kind of have to go in with the mindset of you're going to watch all 65 episodes, or 75 episodes, not just the first 24. So keep
I
that in
still
mind.
haven't seen anything now, but
One at a time. It's a mindset that I think we need to go into. But building off of that, let's jump into characters. Characters for me are a very difficult score to give due to the fact that, alright, I've seen every part of Kuroko. Season 1, 2, and 3, as well as the extra manga that came out afterwards. Characters, they grow, and they grow based off of the bare bones they're given here. That said, they're nothing extraordinary as of right now. Most of the characters are fairly one-dimensional. You don't know much about their pasts, why they play, or what makes them tick. You get glimpses of it. You get glimpses of their personality through the game, through their interactions with each other, and through like playing the game entirely out. But you don't see any true depth, I don't believe, thus far. You see hints, but once more, nothing more. That said, I love these characters. I think they're really funny. I think even like what we got so far, I remember the first time I watched season 1, I thought they were just a straight up funny team. I enjoy especially Izumi's crappy jokes and the way that the team reacts to the crappy jokes. It's not so much a spoiler, but when he makes bad jokes, you'll get different people muttering to themselves like variations of the joke. You'll get people laughing. You'll get people like telling him to shut up because it's a terrible pun and he should feel bad. But that kind of thing, I do enjoy the teen culture that's built in season 1, and I think that does generate a good bit of character, at least foundation. So that's a 7.
I give characters a 4.
This is why I might so much.
I might bump it up to a 4.5. But the two main things that I would argue are that, one, I do not think they really grew at all. Physically, I guess you could count that, like, and I guess this is a physical-based anime, but, like, no one grows as a character, except for maybe Kisei. And maybe Kuroko. Other than those two characters, everyone's the same. No one improves anything, as far as, like, being a human, and that's more than just being able to jump high. Secondly, I liked it because they did not go into the backstories of every character, and they might do that in the next few seasons. I haven't seen them. But I really liked it wasn't there. It was non-existent except for brief flashbacks that took less than like 5 minutes each time, and there were maybe 2 at max. Things that brought it down, like I said, no one, I think, changed. I didn't care for really anyone except for one character, and it's not my best girl. Aomine, I thought, was the best character. I thought he was really cool. He didn't change, but he was an interesting character anyway, regardless. Kisei, I would say, is my favorite character. That did change by the end.
Okay, let me make a couple of points here. So, for me, it's hard to really, like, separate story and characters in something like this. Because, to me, a big part of it is the way the characters, like, as in the team members, interact with each other. But, like, when you're talking about a sports anime, the way they're playing together and the way they're interacting with each other during these matches is also part of the story. So it's hard to really separate it. So if anything, maybe I should bump down my characters and raise my story. But I gave characters a 9, actually, which there's a big discrepancy here.
I can see where you're coming from, though. I want you to explain it.
I really love the characters here, and I don't know enough about sports to necessarily say that it's realistic or not, but the way they interact with each other, to me, is at the least extremely enjoyable, and it's really nice to see how each person's strength works together with other team members and that sort of thing. I really didn't consider the fact that they didn't really grow much. And for reference, I have seen season 1 and 2, but not 3. So I think
we're all over the place here.
Yeah, I think that can just, like, for the record, kind of, like, I guess psychologically can affect our scores here a little bit anyway, because it's like you make the point that, oh, well, they're kind of better in season 3 because they do more. So, like, I can see where you're coming from with that. But yeah, the characters are what makes the show what it is for me. Like, they're so lovable all around. They're really funny, and they work really well together on a team. I mean, they struggle too, but yeah.
I would like to jump in on a point that Stephen made. In that, although not every character, you said that the characters don't really advance individually as characters, Tom. As true as that is, that's not the only form of development characters can get in a team-based sport, and that's something Steven mentioned that I didn't think about before, but is honestly extraordinarily true. Because not all the character development is this person grows to be a better person himself, but how the team advances in playing with each other. And you see a lot of that, especially at the boot camp, especially in their ability to learn to actually play around Kuroko rather than through Kuroko. In their abilities to, I don't know, I think things like that do count. I see a face of disapproval, but I would like to make that point before Allan jumps in for his score.
Okay.
Allan?
Is it my turn? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, he does jump in for his score.
I thought you were gonna make another like one more thing, but
No, that was
That's
it.
fine.
That's all I got.
That's fine.
I gave it a 7.5. I think I'm like of the middle ground here. I do think that because of the nature of the story and the length that it's trying to go for, the characters really haven't grown individually themselves. However, I was gonna make the point that like even though they didn't really grow as like people, their like trust in each other while playing the game and outside of the game do develop. Um, you can actually see it a lot in Kagami as well, because like at the beginning he really was more of a self-centered player, but he starts to, grow into more team-based practices later on. Or I forgot the word that I was going to use, but I think that the characters themselves are really enjoyable to watch. They are what you would expect from a story like this, a shonen story. The main okay, technically the main character is Kuroko, so I can't really say that he's like.
I don't know that the main
I don't
character
think-
is Kuroko.
I don't think it's Kuroko. I think it's
like-
Kagami.
Yeah.
Kuroko might be the title character, titular character. Yeah, but I think Kagami might actually be the main character. But that's an argument to be had once we get into spoilers, maybe.
I guess so. But I guess since you guys already said it, like Kagami's basically the main character. And he is very shonen. He's very hot-blooded. He goes, does things without thinking. He just speaks his mind, like. And then like
He's
all the
built like a brick wall.
characters around him are, kind of enjoyable people. Kind of more mellow than he is, but at the same time outlandish in their own ways. And yeah, I think all that together makes a 7.5 for me.
Yeah. I do really enjoy the duality caused by Kagami and everybody around Kagami, due to the fact that nobody is nearly as worked up as he is, and there are points where he'll make his like dramatic shonen speeches that you just come to expect from the genre, and then other players in the court will just be like what are you talking about? It's a gag that I really do enjoy. Moving on to animation. Now I don't know if my score is too high or too low. I don't know what you guys have put down for this. But I would like to give context, because on top of having watched all of Kuroko, I have read Kuroko, and let me tell you, that is not an enjoyable experience. Not the best artist. Every character looks the same. All of them. There's a good reason they're color-coded in the anime, as it turns out. The characters look the same, and it's very hard to tell what motion is actually happening, what movements, like what cool basketball thing they're doing. I don't know. In the anime, it's a much, much more enjoyable process. So with that in mind, I give animation a 7.5 out of 10 for, like, while it's still not the greatest thing in the world, I think it looks cool, I like the art style and the colors, and I am actually able to keep track of what's happening, and that is lovely.
I forgot to say how much experience I've had with it. I've watched up to season 2, but I've read the entire thing plus extra.
I gave animation a 7.5.
Woo! On board.
It was cool. I'll give it that. My favorite part. Can't say that yet. Sorry. Okay. It looked cool. It had cool moments, but overall, there was a lot of normalcy. It looked like an anime. There wasn't anything like ground shaking. There wasn't anything especially pretty. It was there. It told a story. Whether or not you enjoyed that, this is up to you. And then it had some cool moments, but it wasn't pretty. So I gave it a 7.5.
Well, admittedly, the score might be a little high, but I gave it an 8.5. I think the cool moments really shined, at least for me. Like art wise, like just the way everything's drawn is, like you said, it's pretty anime. It's not too spectacular, but I actually really like the character designs.
I don't know what you're talking about, anime. They have noses.
Do they? I have to look that up.
Yeah,
I don't
they
even
do
remember that.
actually. But I don't know. Sports anime does tend to have like a pretty distinctive art style that I don't know. All sports anime tend to be drawn a certain way. They have like the little lines on the neck. You know what I mean?
Oh, the neck shadows. Yes, I
Yeah,
love the line
like,
shadows.
I forgot
Every
about that.
sports anime. So like it's not too spectacular in that regard, but I do think during the games, like their animations and what's going on during the matches, I think it's done really well. Really, really well. It shined a lot for me. It was quite enjoyable to watch.
The CGI net. Always,
Oh, you
always
do it.
noticed it every
You
time.
get used to it.
No, I didn't.
No, not in season 1 you don't. It looks better, but it's gonna be CGI forever.
Also the ball.
And the ball.
Oh, yeah.
With the net, there's also the ball. I gave it a 7. I think that the animation really does go a long way to make the games a lot more enjoyable. There are the effects are very showy, but at the same time, it's not exactly like in a good animation kind of way, because there are a lot of stills. But stills can be cool too, man. Like every odd shot that they do does highlight like what they're trying to do, if that makes sense. Like what they're what they're doing in the game, and it's really like it's enjoyable. It's not ground shaking. It's not particularly good looking. As far like I agree with Thomas. But it does do its job. It does it very well. It highlights basketball.
You know, I think to make one more point, kind of building off of that, the fact that even you say like it does, the animation does a lot to make the games more enjoyable to watch. I think that's why I give it such a high score. Like in a show like this, that really matters. You know, like
You do have to enjoy watching the games, yeah.
yeah, and like the animation is a big part of what makes it so fun to watch. So I think it deserves a pretty
I think
decent score.
I have a friend who refuses to watch it because of the noses. Please don't be prejudiced against noses.
I think the thing that I can say that I liked was when Kuroko passes the ball, you can see the heft with each thing that he does.
Oh,
like
it's incredible.
The wind just like,
No,
like blows
whoever's
behind
in
him.
charge, whoever's in charge of animating Kuroko's passes, like my hero. Not just the intense ones, like even the regular passes look like they should technically be those passes. And all I can say is that person watched a lot of Spurs because Kuroko's actually just Manu Ginobili, for the record. Anywho, NBA aside, we are running a little behind, so we're gonna blitz through sound, I think, to get to the spoiler section.
Okay.
And with that, I'm just gonna say that I give sound a 7. I like the opening, I like the ending theme, but like I don't think it was something. I don't think the soundtrack thus far is anything incredible. I like the music that plays when they play. I think it's iconic. I really enjoy it, but I don't think it's anything that breaks ground. I don't think it's any spectacular music. It's not something I've downloaded, except for maybe the openings.
I gave it a 5. I liked the first opening, hated the second one. The first ending was okay, and the second ending was alright also. The music that they used throughout the show is overused. They have maybe like 6 tracks that they just keep using over and over. You say it's iconic, it's overused. I mean, yeah, it makes you think of it, but it's just because they keep playing it, it's going on in your head. You'll just be like watching a normal basketball game, and you'll be like, what is this song? And then you'll come back and be like, oh, this! So anyway, overused, 5.
So at the end you'll see 7, but I'm actually gonna go ahead and bump it down to a 6. I made these scores really quickly. So I'm gonna give it a 6. I love the opening. Did season 1 have 1 or 2 openings? I can't remember.
2.
2? Yeah. I love both of the openings. I even though I forgot how many it had, but I love. It's because I love all the Kuroko openings. They're all so good.
They're all done by the same band too, so you get like a level of consistency there.
Yeah, I really like it. But yeah, other than that, it's just kind of average. I think the voice acting's pretty on point throughout, but yeah, it's above average, nothing spectacular.
I wanted to add one thing that I forgot. The crowd, like when they're in the stadium, seems to just fade in and out, like at random.
I'm
Like,
not gonna lie, I would hate it if I could hear the crowd the entire time.
But it took me out because it was weird the way it was in, and it was like the same crowd sound. Maybe there were two of them, but it was just like doom, out, in, out, depending on what they did, and it faded from like full blast to nothing in like 2 seconds. Like it was dramatic.
Fair enough.
I gave
Allan?
Sound a 7. Most points I'll agree with. That's already been said. I will say though, Kuroko's voice actor does a good job at making him really boring. He's supposed to be, so it's good.
Yeah, I know.
Yep.
No, he keeps the monotone. He believes in the monotone, and I'm really like, and I know because later on his voice acting gets a little bit more range when it's necessary. It's not just a bad voice actor that they hired because he thought he couldn't do emotions.
No, not the worst Ray type.
Not the worst. No, Kuroko is he's not a Ray is the difference though.
He's not.
He's not a Ray. Like I get where you're coming from here, but he's not emotionless. He just doesn't wear them on his sleeve. I think is the difference.
He just doesn't really. You can't really hear them in his voice, or his.
He does the things like, all right, you know what? We're gonna be hitting the spoiler section in 5 seconds. 5 seconds. If you don't want to be spoiled, go watch the show. Come back. We'll have a YouTube VOD. YouTube.com/WeTaku. We'll be here. Until then, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Spoilers. All right, who is your best girl, guys? I'm gonna go last year, I think.
Koga. I think that's his name. The guy with the
You
cat
chose
face.
Kogane?
Yeah, the guy.
The cat boy.
He's ridiculous. I don't know.
He is ridiculous.
He
I love
added
him.
nothing to the show,
He's
but
great.
Nothing.
He
He
is
adds
great.
nothing. I love
Okay.
him so much.
My best girl is Coach. Oh my god, she is the best. There's no other best girl. Like, I don't. If I could like get a million figures of her, I would. She's my waifu.
Oh god, we've encroached into waifu
best.
territory here. Oh boy.
Yes, we have. I absolutely love Coach here. I'd like to point out previously my waifu was Misaka Mikoto from Railgun.
Which is
But-
basically the same character design as Coach.
Exactly. So Coach is just like older Misaka.
Steven has
Oh god.
Steven has a thing for short brown-haired girls.
Found your type.
Oh boy.
But she's
Alright.
also a little like tsundere kinda, and I don't
That
know. I
too.
love her. I love her.
No, I'm all for tsunderes. I can't complain there. Alan, where are you at here, man?
Midorima. I love Midorima.
I see it.
He's just like a big baby, and I love it.
Yeah.
He is a big baby. He's like a giant child who's very good at basketball. He's so lanky too. His proportions don't make sense in the slightest. I love it.
They're freshmen. They are, what, 16 years old?
Technically, they would be our equivalent of sophomores.
Right, so they are 16 years old, and they look like that. They're
grown men. No, they're grown men. All of them are 40. That's something you just have to realize. Like, all of them are 40-year-old men.
They're all like 6'6", at least, except for Kuroko, who's like 5'4", and then like
Kuroko's like 5'10".
whatever.
Just everyone else is a giant.
It's ridiculous. It really is. People don't look like that anywhere, much less in Japan.
Fair enough. I'll wait till you meet the actual. There's a team that's entire thing is that's just that they're bigger than you, and they make everybody else look tiny.
Isn't that not the first season? The
No.
guys that just do the one-on-one.
No. There's a bigger team.
No, guys, I have to say, there was one time I was in Singapore and I was on the fucking like MRT and like the metro, and this really like 6.5 feet tall guy comes in wearing a basketball jersey, and doesn't Kagami wear something around his neck?
A ring. Yeah.
He was
wears-
wearing a ring around his neck. I was like, guys, I'm looking at Kagami in real
He met
life.
Kagami in Singapore.
I'm 100% serious. He like had the ring around his neck.
I believe it.
Yeah.
Speaking of Kagami, my best girl is not Kagami. It's actually Kisei. Because
Hey!
Kisei is bae. Thomas, you talked about character development he goes through.
Yeah.
Oh man, no. Season 1 is the beginnings of Kisei. Season 1 is the very beginning of Kisei's arc. Kisei, for me, is like... If Kagami's the main character and Kuroko is like the shadow to the main character, then Kisei is the secondary protagonist. Like, watching Kaijo and Kisei grow as a team, like, right after Seirin, is my favorite part of Kuroko, and I just love Kisei, because Kisei goes in as worthless garbage compared to the other 5, if you count Kagami. Kisei's bad. Like, compared to the other generation plus Kagami Kuroko mix, Kisei's just bad at basketball. He's not that great. He's objectively the worst basketball superpower there is. He can only copy people who are worse than him. It's garbage. But, and you see hints of it at the very end of Season 1, he starts to surpass that.
I mean, he's not bad. He's
Compared
not
to
bad.
the other generations. Compared to the other generations, there's not a single generation of Miracles member he would beat in a one-on-one. Or not, maybe in a one-on-one, because Midorima can only shoot really far. But in, like, a game, a 5-on-5 like game, there's not a single other team that Kisei would beat as he was at the beginning of the show.
Midorima couldn't
That said,
just shoot very far.
all I'm saying is in a one-on-one versus Kisei, he would probably lose.
Maybe it is important to note all the generation of miracles can play basketball beyond their superpower.
That is very true, but when
And
facing off against
Kuroko
each
to
other,
a
it's the
lesser
superpower.
extent.
Yeah, but when facing off against each other, it's the superpower that determines who's gonna win each.
Yeah.
With the exception of Murasaki Baro, who you guys have not met yet. He's just big.
Is that the green
So-
guy?
Nope, purple.
Purple, yeah.
Yeah, fun fact,
I
they're all
had the
color
color
coded
in
and
my
named
head,
after the
that's-
color. It's great. But Kisei, near the end, and this gets us to the final fight, actually, because it doesn't involve Seirin, I feel confident just talking about it now. Which is to say, Kaijo, Kisei's team, versus Toho, Aomine's team, is an incredible match where you watch Kisei, like, you figure out what makes Kisei tick. You watch him trying to surpass the guy he's idolized for so long and, like, why he even plays basketball. And you see him finally surpass the crap limitation on his magical superpower and actually start to just copy Aomine, copy someone who's just an objectively better player than he is at that point, and take his powers, take his, like, speed, his agility, to his formless shot, and almost beat Aomine. And that's just an incredible thing. Just watching Kisei go through that, that's why, to me, he's another main character after Kagami and Kuroko. Because you don't see any of the other Seirin players go through as much as you see Kisei, or get as good as you see Kisei get. Yay, nay?
Okay.
Alright.
Yeah.
Maybe
No, I get where you're coming from. Yeah.
Because just like staring at me, it's like, oh man, I've gone on about Kisei for far too long.
My picture is
Yeah.
always
I don't
staring.
really know what else to say. Though I have to say I'm surprised no one chose Tetsu number 2 as best girl.
I was so close. It was a toss-up between Kisei for his beautiful character development and Tetsu number 2 for just being an adorable puppy.
Aomine would have been my second.
The only one who can beat me is me. I love Aomine. But I would like to talk about something that happens in the story in Season 1 that drops off in Seasons 2 and 3, and I want to get your guys' opinion on it.
Okay.
In that, in Season 1 of Kuroko no Basuke, you get a lot of moments off the court. You get moments like the episode in which they have to get bread, and we learn about Kagami's Japanese lunchtime rusher. You have moments where Coach has to learn how to cook, and as it turns out, that's a bad thing. You get moments in
I
the
love
practice
her.
sessions. You get moments in the practice sessions where they're just kind of chilling for a while, or eating, or taking cold water baths. You get actual proof that they go to school and have classes and prepare for matches. In later seasons, kind of those moments drop off, and it really is just basketball all day, every day.
That's fine.
No,
I like
want
that.
your guys' opinions. So, Tom, you were for just basketball the whole time, or?
Yeah, it's what it's about. It's a basketball anime. Why aren't they just doing basketball all the time? I mean, obviously, for more character development. But I think that it's a good... even, like, you say it's a lot. They're actually on court for probably most of the show.
Oh, most, yeah, but compared to the later seasons, it's just you don't leave the court.
I like it. I think it's a good choice.
All right.
Well, personally, and maybe it's just because I have a hard on for Coach, but well, my favorite episode was probably the cooking episode.
No, I get
It
it.
was
My
the
favorite
trope
episode's
to
bread
a
episode.
T. The
Oh, it's a
band-aids
beautiful
on her
trope.
fingers. Everyone's like, I love it, and stomachs it, and then the guy goes and dies outside.
Oh, but it was such a beautiful manly moment.
It was so
He
great.
He just eats the whole thing and coolly walks away. Hugo's great. Hugo would also be in contention for one of my best
Yeah.
girls, I think. I love Clutch Time. Clutch Time's just fun. Dual personalities, and one of them's just a complete jackass but never misses. I'm okay with that.
No, like in all seriousness though, I think the moments off the court are, I think they add quite a bit to it personally. I don't know, like it's hard for me to say. I'm not a huge shonen person to begin with, so maybe it's just not for me in that regard. But I definitely it seems weird to me to just go like, we're playing a game, now we're playing another game. I like having that kind of buffer, be like, we're doing something in between.
All right.
So
Thank you for, like, having gone through the entire thing as well. Like, I think what they replace it with is kind of fine, because, like, even if they're on the court for most of the time, you also get more backstory, as opposed to this season. And, like, I missed because, past tense.
Yeah.
Gotta have that grammar. Go to
Welcome to
school,
WeTaku
kids.
Grammar Pod.
Go to school, kids. But I did miss the slice of life moments, but at the same time, like, you get to know more about the characters, and I think that's fine.
Yeah, I think where I stand on it is a little bit of a mix of you guys, actually, because, as Tom says, as it's a basketball anime, and eventually you just kind of want to spend every moment on the court, playing, watching them, and you get backstories for whatever you don't need, but, like, a lot of it is just on the court, to the point where Season 3 is literally, like, 3 games back-to-back. But, and, like, 2 backstory episodes. But, there's something, I think Season 1 had to do it as it did. I think that's the setup for showing you team culture, for showing you who they are and, like, how they interact with each other. You get Kagami eating the entirety of the steak shop, and that's just, like, a funny moment. You get Kuroko weaving in and out to get the bread because brute strength just wouldn't get it, and you get a little bit more of Kuroko off of that, actually. And you get the moments, like, where Kuroko, he doesn't ever yell or he doesn't emote, ever. But you get the moment where he, in the chalk on the front fields, wrote that they were going to be the best in Japan. Like, you get those characters' development moments, you get the beginnings, you get team culture, you get how they interact with each other, so that when you're only on the court in the future, the rest of that is implied, I think.
Yeah.
I think that's why they place it as they did and why it drops off later. So as much as I do miss it, I think I do appreciate what they replaced it with, and I think that's how it had to be.
the only thing for me, and honestly, they probably do this to some degree. I just like knowing how we got from game 1 to game 2. Like I like not just being transported between. I like knowing what it took to get to that point. That's pretty much all it is for
I
me.
get that.
A pretty coherent like story, I guess.
Of course.
It's
So-
not to say that disappears, but
Yeah.
it certainly lessens. From an episode to maybe like half a minute. It's
Yeah.
of
And I mean,
in-between time, to
as
be
long as they
honest.
do it well, I think that's totally fine as well.
Yeah. Season 1, it's the build-up. That's all you can call it. It's the build-up for Kuroko no Basuke. You've only barely started to see the basketball which Kuroko plays. You get little twinges of the basketball that Kuroko plays, if you're going to be honest. But I would also like to ask one other question that we don't get to ask very often because it's rare that I get to do such fun shonen. Favorite move of Season 1? Favorite BS basketball? We have, and I will accept things like the Eagle Eye and the Hawkeye as moves, technically. Though if you want to rewind it to Eagle Spear a little bit, that's fine too. Because everybody has superpowers. Not just the 5 generations plus Kuroko and Kagami. Everyone has superpowers. It's just some people's superpowers are lamer.
My favorite. Go ahead.
No, go.
My favorite part was when Seirin goes against Aomine's team, So, and Aomine just goes up to Kagami and is just like, wow.
Yep, that's what happens.
Yeah, no, it's totally crazy. It doesn't like everyone else literally does not move, probably because they didn't think of drawing them to move, but they don't, and he just maneuvers around them and then dunks, and it's really cool, and it's crazy, and it's dumb, and I like it.
As it turns out, he's really good at basketball.
He's super fast.
Is it in season 1 where Kuroko literally goes through a person?
No, season 2.
Oh, okay. Well,
Kuroko doesn't get intangibility until season 2.
Okay, in that case, there was the game where Hyuga and Midorima were just like going at it with like only a few seconds left on the clock.
Oh, with the 3-point shots?
Yeah, it's like, here's a 3. Oh, we have 10 seconds. Here's another 3. Oh, 3 seconds. Here's another 3. Like that was quite possibly one of the best moments for me. There's like so much tension there, and it's just like, I don't know if I'd even call that a superpower of Hyuga's, but like, I don't know.
Time. I'll take it.
It was, yeah, I really like that. So that may be my favorite, at least example of a superpower. Yeah.
Let it be known that in that game, that was the game that Midorima, with 1 second left on the clock, gave a 1.5-minute speech about how good he is with time pressure.
Yeah.
And shots. And I was really hoping, in my heart of hearts, I was just really hoping that the clock would run out while he was talking, and that's why they would lose. That's what I wanted.
I loved the double, like trick. Like, you think that, like, Kagami's gonna stop him with his last jump, and he messes up, and then it's like, he decides to duck down instead, and then on his way back up, you're like, ah, man, now he's got it. And then Kuroko comes out of nowhere, he's like, wah!
Yeah, I love Kuroko moments.
That was all that one game, yeah.
Yep, that was an incredible game. All right, Allan, how are you at with superpowers, man?
It's not the coolest, but I just like watching Aomine just like flick the ball into the hoop.
Oh, his hook shot or his
No,
formless?
just his formless shot. I just like how lazy it looks.
All of his shots look so lazy.
I know.
He doesn't care. He's just better than you.
To be fair though, I also really like Midorima's superpower, just because like he has to have his lucky item or whatever it is in order.
I don't know that that's a necessary part of his power. I think it's actually just practice.
He needs to trim his nails to like the perfect form.
God, he's a little intense, I'm not gonna lie. But I'm glad none of you stole mine. Because the Ignite Pass Kai exists, and just nobody talks about the fact that Kuroko Kamehameha a ball through Aomine. Just nobody's mentioned. Like, he takes like 10 seconds to charge ki around him. The wind blows around his entire body. He charges aura, and then when he blasts the ball, there is a blue laser beam going with it. It's like, come on. That's some shonen. That's like a straight up Kamehameha blast. That's a Kamehameha wave.
Yeah.
He destroyed the Bull King's tower. That bastard.
Yep, he overdid it a little bit, but I'm just gonna point that out. God, I love that. It was so intense. I love those intense little superpower moments. Oh boy. Alright, we're running out of time. So I think I'm gonna ask one more question, specifically for Steven and Thomas.
Okay.
Is where do you think it goes? In terms of powers, in terms of like scenarios they find themselves in, team conflicts? I just want to know.
I would hope they eventually get to nationals and win.
Yeah. I was gonna say, like, I also feel like they go on and they win.
Quick question. Like, how do you think they get there, I guess is the question I'm asking. Who do you think they have to face? How do you think they have to face them, etc.? I want to know, like, where you guys are at with that.
Well, the last person they have to face is Red Guy, because they hinted at him in 22 and a half, where it's the backstory episode, and, oh my god, the trope about playing chess, he's just so good at everything else, he must be great at chess too, or shogi, whatever, Japanese chess. And so he's He doesn't even talk about. I don't even know what his superpower is. I imagine they go up against him or someone better than him in the last thing, or actually, I bet they beat him and then go against Kisei, and that's the last thing.
All right,
And then,
Steven?
yeah, sorry.
I don't know.
No. I love the storyline you've just created. We'll see.
That's such a specific thing to ask me, and I really
Yeah, I want something.
don't
Thomas
have
gave me
a
like an
good
exact
answer.
scenario where they face the captain and then Kisei afterwards.
I
Like
don't
that's great.
know, man. Like, because I'm trying to remember how far I actually got. I remember I got to the game with Murasaki Bara. Because I don't think I ever actually finished season 2, but I watched a good part of it at least.
All right.
So I don't know. Yeah, I'm on the same page as Thomas. Like they end up facing off against the red guy. I honestly used to know his name, but I don't now. What's his name? It bothers me.
His name is the color red.
So
Akashi.
it's just okay, Akashi. Okay.
Their
I knew it
names
had
are
to
just
have
the colors, guys.
Yeah, I know.
Fun
Except
fact: Kuroko means shadow person.
yeah.
I don't know Japanese.
Fair enough.
Kuroko, well,
It's
more
actually like,
literally
it's like black.
black child,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's like shadow person is
I
the
mean,
better
to him,
translation.
fair
Yeah.
enough. Fair enough.
But yeah, literally, Kuro is black and Ko is child.
All right. With all that in mind,
but yeah.
I think it is time to go into final thoughts and/or ratings.
I don't wanna.
Well, too bad. We gotta. Is there anything else you want to bring up first, Allan?
No, I'm good.
Sam mentioned that in the middle of the season, Kagami wasn't talking to Kuroko. Oh, what was it? Kagami wasn't talking to Kuroko as much, and so they were out of sync, and he started missing him more. He didn't notice him as much.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Oh, you want to bring up how they reacted to the loss?
No. So like, the fact that like he didn't really talk to Kuroko as much as the rest of the team, like as the season went on.
Yeah.
They had more of the gags where Kuroko would pop up and scare Kagami, whereas
When he was
right
talking
after
to
the
him a
beginning
lot,
of
It
yeah,
didn't happen.
yeah.
Wow. My God, I didn't notice that. But that's incredible.
Yeah.
That's really interesting.
I'm gonna go back. Yeah, that actually is really interesting.
Just one more thing to bring up that I hated. The fucking sorry, I keep cursing.
It's fine,
Excuse
just
me.
go, man.
The
Just go.
pool episode.
I
with-
loved the Mormoy's
No.
best. Mormoy's
No.
like top 20.
It
Best
just
girl.
comes out with so much etchy and fan service in this one episode, and I'm like, why? This is
Because
so
you gotta
unnecessary.
know. You gotta know
I mean-
about Kuroko's hot girlfriend, man.
Coach is pretty cute in a swimsuit, but I mean, it was still so unnecessary.
Choose if you're gonna complain or not. For
Yeah, you have to choose a side, man.
you lost your point somewhere in there. All right. So final thoughts and ratings. I think for me, just knowing that we only reviewed the first season, I give Kuroko no Basuke season 1 a 7.5 out of 10, with room for growth. What I'm saying here is that, and I'm just gonna give like a rough estimation of what my scores would be from here on. Would be season 2 would probably get like an 8.5, and season 3 would get over a 9, though I'm not exactly sure where it would go. I think season 1 is definitely the weakest of the 3 seasons, and is really just a builder for what comes next. That said, it's really enjoyable. I think it does draw you into the entire series. I think it does like bring you in. And fun fact, since Kuroko is done, you can blitz the whole thing in one go through all 3 seasons if you really wanna. So I don't think there's anything stopping you from moving on to the other 2 seasons after this. So I think although it's a 7.5, there's a lot of room for growth, and I can say that it does make use of that room.
Okay. I gave it a 7. I think it's a really enjoyable experience, but since we're just doing season 1, I'd say that like the ending of season 1 is not very fulfilling. And so
That's true.
I'd say if you are planning on watching it, please watch the other seasons along with it, or I guess read the manga if you want to. It's faster if you're strapped on time. I mean, the manga isn't bad.
It's hard to keep track of what's happening,
It's not that hard.
especially
man.
when Kagami and Aomine are on the board. Turns out Kagami and Aomine have the exact same face. It's just Kagami has the weird eyebrow thingy, so you got to look for them. Also, Kuroko and Kisa are the exact same with that color as well.
It's fine. But anyway, yeah, I think it's it's one of my favorite sports anime. I think it might be my favorite sports anime. I haven't seen too many of them, but I can safely say that. It is, yeah, I don't really have that much to say other than it's pretty good for what it is.
Solid.
Moving on. Oh,
Yeah,
I'm just gonna say this now. It's available on Crunchyroll.
It is available all 3 seasons. Crunchyroll, do the thing.
Yes.
Give us a sponsorship.
It's gracious. I gave it a 6.5. I thought it was I liked it. I enjoyed it. I'm not into sports. I'm not into shonen. So the fact that it even was above a 5 is saying something. Basketball also is like my least favorite sport, one of them. So the fact that it was able to make me actually want to go and play basketball is really saying something. I enjoyed it. Check it out. It's worth your time, probably. I haven't seen any of the other 2 seasons. I might not.
He will, because there will be on the schedule eventually.
I'll
my
watch them.
Okay, I gave it a 8.5. So I think even keeping in mind that this is like season 1, it's kind of the introductory season. Like I think it does that really well. It sets up the rest of the show really well, and that's something that can be factored in rather than taking it on its own. But regardless, I thought they did this extremely well. It's an extremely well done show. It's really fun to watch. You really feel those suspenseful moments when you're watching these teams face off against each other. And I too am not a huge sports fan, but I absolutely love this show. I enjoy it so much. It's so fun to watch. Even if you don't like sports, it's really fun to watch, and I would highly recommend it.
Yeah, if you like sports or shonen, and this is not you don't have to like sports and shonen. If you like sports or shonen, then this will be something that's right down your alley.
They
That
have
said, if you like
super-
the sanctity of sports without superpowers, maybe don't.
Okay,
I
was about
don't
to say,
like
they have
either.
superpowers. So-
All right, never mind. Steven doesn't like either, and he enjoys it. So you know what? Just watch Kuroko, everybody. Screw it. I tried to be subjective.
Yeah, but he
It's
has a
fine.
hard on for one of the characters.
Hey,
Yeah, fair enough. All right.
she's irrelevant when it comes to my enjoyability of the show as a whole. Okay.
I don't know. If there's ever a waifu in your show, you're going to defend it to the death, no matter what the show is. So, you know what? We're gonna have a waifu pod sometime. It's gonna be great. Until then,
Oh man, I wish I could show off my background. Then I still don't have a webcam.
one day. All right. Until then, though, let's talk about what we're doing in 2 weeks from now, when our next podcast airs. It is brought to you by Allan himself, Hanasaku Iroha. Give it to me. What's it about? What are we doing? Why do you recommend it?
All right. Well, it is about a girl whose mother, kind of, not really, she kind of just drops her off at her grandmother's inn, and she works there.
I've seen the first episode of this.
I think it's one. I think it's the reason why I picked it is because it's probably my favorite PA Works anime. That's taking into account everything that they've done. I think it's a really well done show. And I just can't wait to watch it again for like the 5th or 6th time.
Oh god, this looks adorable. Sorry, I just looked it up. Oh man, I'm looking forward to it actually. I think it's gonna be fun, if not maybe not watch at work one.
The grandmother's a bit crotchety, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I've seen this.
All
First
right.
episode.
So we're looking forward to Hanasaku Iroha. I'm still working on making a 5-man overlay because that's really the only defining factor on when Real Taku is gonna start up. I just decided that we're going to have a waifu episode at some point because that sounds incredibly fun. So keep an eye out for another podcast we might be putting out eventually. We are planning on continuing our Let's Plays at some point. And by continuing, I mean really starting. We haven't uploaded any episodes, have we? So that's going to be a thing that's in the pipe works, but I have no idea when because life is busy and I can't make empty
I
promises.
just had a midterm.
He means like an hour ago. So,
Oh.
with all that in mind, just thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.